Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is Mr. Mohammed Ibrahim. Today I'm going to solve the Cambridge IGCSE, the Computer Science, the rest of May, June 2023 for paper 2 version 1 for the Computer Science 0478. So I'm going to take last question as I mentioned before. So the last question is about coding, and this question is worst, as you see in here down, it's worth 15 marks. And 15 marks, that means uh, we have to figure out how to solve this question, because this question is worth 20% of the total mark for this page. As you see in here, the full mark is 75, and 15 from the 75 is worth 20%. So we have to uh, focus on this question, and let's see how to solve this question. Okay, in question 11, a one-dimensional D1 array called days contain the name of the days of the week. A two-dimensional 2D array's reading, which is called a reading, is used to store 24 temperature readings, okay, for the days and the reading, taken once an hour for each of the 7 days of the week. That means he said in each hour the temperature is taken in each day, in each hour. That means I take 24 reading for each day. So that's what about an hour for each of 7 days of the week. 1D array average temperature is used to store the average temperature for each days of the week. So we have another array called average temperature. This average temperature array is used to store the average temperature for each day of the week. So the examiner say the position of and the position of and any date is same in the three arrays. For example, if Wednesday is in the 4 index of the day, the Wednesday temperature reading are in the four of the reading, and in the Wednesday average temperature is in the 4 index. That means if you want to read any of the day, that means if you want to check the date or check the temperature or check the reading of for this date, that means if you use, for example, Sunday, that means Sunday is going to be an index 1. So also the reading is going to be an index 1, and the average temperature is going to be an index 1, because they are all the same. A temperature reading are installed to 1 decimal place. Temperatures can only be from down or negative 20% and to positive 15 Celsius. So this is the first part of the question. Of course, I have to separate the question into 3 parts to make it more easier. So this is for the details for this question. Let's see what the examiner wants from us. Here, this is what the examiners want from you. The examiner said, write a program that meets the following requirements. Number 1, input and validate the hourly temperature for 1 week, and then calculate and store the average temperature for each day of the week. Then he said calculate the average temperature for the whole week. Then he said compare all the average temperature for Celsius to Fahrenheit by using the formula. Fahrenheit is equal to Celsius multiplied by 9 divided by 5, adding to the 32. Then say output the average temperature in the Celsius and in Fahrenheit for each day, and finally say output the all over temperature, average temperature for in Celsius and in Fahrenheit for the whole week. Looks so complicated, but I'm going to break it down for you. It's not going to be hard. Then here we have some information we have to follow. Say you must use a specific code or program code and add the comment to explain how your code is work. Then you do not need to declare any arrays valid variables for constant, you may assume that this has been done. So you don't need to declare or validate any constant variables because by default is already, and also for the array by default is already is uh, applied by default. Imagine that is applied. All inputs and outputs must contain suitable message, and all data output must be rounded to one decimal place. And you will need to initialize and calculate the array days at the start of the program. So let's see how to solve the first part of the question. Let's start with this question. So I'm going to see how is my code is going to look like. So for the constant, I have to declare the constant first for each part of my program. So I'm going to write down for the constant that I need to use and the meaningful of each array and each things I use in this code. So it's here constant for temperature, limits, and time units. The constant mean temperature, the minimum value of the minimum temperature is -20, and the maximum temperature is 50, and the hour per day, the hour per day is 24, and constant days per week is 7. So this is the constant I'm going to use for the day and the temperature. So the meaningful identify and appropriate the data structure for all the data required. So I have to do meaningful identify and tell the examiners that I use or declare the days array from 1 to 7, of course, and this is string uh, because I'm going to write down characters, not numbers. So this is for the day arrays. It's array from 1 to 7 of strings. Of string does mean the type of the array. So I have to declare also the reading array. It's 1 to 7 and 1 to 40 for each hour and each day. And this one is real because we have the decimal number here. Once we going to read, we may find the decimal number. So that's why I'm using the real here for a decimal number. Then also for the temperature, average temperature, the array is 1 to 7 for each day. Also it's real. I have to declare also the week loop. So I'm going to use the week loop if I wanna take the average or the reading or the reading for each temperature at each day. So I'm going to use the week loop. It's integer. Also the day loop is integer. And in temperature is real. The temperature is real because we may find the decimal number real, or you can call it float if you like. You can change it to float. And I have to declare the total day temperature and the total week temperature and the average temperature because the examiners asked me to output all of those, the day loop and the temperature for each day and for each week and each hour. So this is for the constant of the program. So the temperature, the day loop, days, temperature, days, and week, and temperature for days, temperature for the array, the constant for the array, and the temperature, the days, and the week. Last but not least, I'm going to add the week and week. So that's what I need to apply for the exam. So in the second question, you say you have to make sure that you input the validation of the temperature for each. So I'm going to go back to the paper here. Let's see what the examiners want from us. Say input and validate the hourly temperature for each week and calculate this and store the average temperature for each day of the week. And also have to calculate the average temperature for the whole week. So this is in the second part. So I'm going to use the function for the validation. So the validation is I'm going to write a comment at the beginning here telling the examiners that I use a comment function for validation and calculation. So the function validation for the temperature. Now I'm going to use the temperature as a argument here. So in for validation temperature, it's in the range. So I'm going to start my function here. While the temperature is less than the minimum value, which is at the 20%, and or the, the temperature is greater than the maximum temperature, this one, is it less than, if it's less than this minimum temperature and greater than this temperature, I have to give this, the output is invalid temperature. Please enter the temperature between negative 20% and 50%. So that's what I should do. Find if the number is bigger or minimum than the regular number. So if else, then I have to input the temperature. I have to add the new temperature and the while and return the temperature. So I have to return temperature because the while loop is returning a value at the end. So this is for the validation. As you see here in the examiner, he said validate the hourly temperature for each week. So I'm done from this one. So let's see. And the other one, he said calculate and store the average temperature for each day and calculate the average temperature for the whole week. So I'm going to the average temperature. I'm going to use another function, but this function is for function. So for average temperature question, so the function, I have to give a comment, as I said, because the examiner mentioned here, whatever I do for any step that I do, I have to write a comment for this step. So I'm writing down the comment, calculate the average of any array of the temperature. So the total is going to be a constant of 0 because we are going to start with 0. So for each temperature in temperature, which is in this temperature, the previous one, each temperature in temperature, the total is equal to total plus temperature. So I'm going to add all of the temperature for the whole temperature for the array of the temperature. So this is going to add and add and add all the temperatures together and give the total. Then I have to end the for loop and retain total over length. Total divided by the length is give you the temperature. So this is the returning of this function. So for this for function, I'm using the total as a starting of the counting. I'm going to start from 0. Then for each temperature in temperature, which is the array of the temperature, I have to calculate all of them, so I have to add them together. So that's why I'm using total. So total equals total plus temperature. Then I have to end the for loop, and of course for loop also is give me a returning value. So this is the return for total for the for loops and return total divided by the length temperature. So this is for the average temperature question. So I'm going done from the second one. Now I count the average temperature for the whole week. So I'm going to just add and add and add the whole temperature until I add all of them. So that's it. Then we say convert all of the average temperature from this Celsius to Fahrenheit, and by using the formula Fahrenheit is equal to Celsius divided by 9 of multiplied by 9 divided by 5 adding to this 32. So I'm going to see how I'm going to solve this one. Simply, I'm going to go back here, and this is a define of the array. So before anything, I have to tell the examiner that I defining my array. So I have to show him the arrays that I have. So here I have the days array that's contains Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and so on for the days of the week. Then I have the reading, and for the reading, I have the reading for each week and each hour for each day. So that's why we declare the days array, the reading array, and the average temperature array. So this is the define of the array. So you have to add a comment at the beginning, as we say, to tell them that you uh, structured for the days and the week are reading and average array. So then you have to use this formula and start the program, and don't forget that the examiner is mentioned here down that I have to um, add a comment at each part of the code and do not use any or declare an arrays constant. And I imagine that is may assume, but I'm just declare that for you to make it more easier for explanation. So that's why I'm declare the arrays. Then last but not least, he said output the average temperature in Celsius and Fahrenheit for each day, and output the all over average temperature in Celsius and in Fahrenheit for the whole week. So this is the start of the program. For the start of the program, the examiner he say mention it in here. You know, where is it? Let me see into the output. Yeah, here in the last question he said you will need to initialize the appropriate data array at the start of the program. So I'm going to just initiate the program by inputting the validated output temperature for the whole week. So 4 days index from 0 to days per week negative one. Why use the 0 and negative one? Because the number uh, is can be a negative number, or the temperature that I may find, or the result that I may find, that sometimes I may find a negative number. So that's why I'm just put them between the 0 and negative 1. That's mean anything between negative and positive that is involved. So that's why I'm using the days index for 0 to days per week. So the output is must be enter outlet temperature for, and I have to add the days index for this day, because the examiner at the beginning of the question he said you have to imagine that the position of any day state is in the same three arrays. So for each array I have to select the specific number for this array. For Sunday I have to use one Sunday and one, and for the the others I have to follow the same procedure. So the output days, the index plus I have to give this dot here to separate between the days and the temperature, and I have to round this temperature. I have to round it because the examiner is mentioned it. I have to round it and uh, just put the constant of citizen in here. So the citizen constant is written like this. So I have to end 4, then the output all over the average, plus I have to round all over the average to one decimal place. This is the rounding for. I round this number to one decimal place, and I add the solution because the examiner is giving me here the formula. It's ready formula here. The solution divided by 9 over 5 added to the 30. So that's why I use the round here to round it to 1. Then I have to output also the average temperature in Fahrenheit. So for day index from 0 to days per week, negative 1. That means I can choose any of the week for the whole week and each hour of the week. So the output must be days for the days index, plus I have to separate them with this double dot. Then I have to round this average temperature and multiply it by 9 and divided by 5 and added to the 32, and don't forget is rounded to 1 decimal place. That's to find the Fahrenheit for this degree. Now I convert from Celsius to Fahrenheit. So this is an equation of Fahrenheit, this is a question of Celsius. So that's how you can round it, and you have to in the for loop, of course, and the output all over average, and you supposed to round all of them to one decimal place, and don't forget to use the formula that the examiner gave you before. So that's it for this question. Uh, you may find there is a lot of points in here, and you may in exam find that it's too difficult and so hard. Just read the question so carefully and don't miss any point. Then you have to put in each part of the program that you have to write a comment to tell the examiner that you solve uh, a minimum part of the program, or at least you give him a comment, at least you follow the structure that the examiner is giving you in here. So this structure is so important. So thank you very much for watching the video. I hope that you get benefit from this video. This is Mr. Muhammad Ibrahim. Thank you very much for watching my video. Have a good time and bye bye.